Hi class, welcome to the last week of Social Work 487 Advanced Practice 1, and congratulations on making it all the way to the last week. Yay, we're almost done. So a couple things. One, so I found the posts from last week to be really interesting and concerning. So the reason that I say they're interesting and concerning is because I continue to be just sort of astounded at how social work practice often does not include an evaluation piece. So try to imagine another business that, um, they're given money and they can't really point to, well, how do you know if it works or not? So I'm going to really challenge you this week to talk to your supervisors. And it's not enough to say, well, clients are happy. It's like, well, how do you know they wouldn't be happy if you gave them M&Ms? I mean, why do we do this and not that? And the reason why this really matters is because if you spend money on M&Ms, you can't spend money on Snickers. So might be that Snickers work better, but you already spent all your money on M&Ms. So it's important as a profession that we are able to point to, here's our intervention, here's how we know it works better than anything else. And one of the things that was mentioned is the database that gives best practices for certain kinds of issues. And my gosh, wouldn't that be awesome for everybody to have access to something like that, so that you could punch in depression, adolescence, and you would get evidence-based information on what the best practice is for depression. Because a professional should not just think to themselves, well, I think that this sounds like a good idea, I'll try that. Like, that's not how it works. Try to imagine a surgeon and you come in with stomach pain and the surgeon's like, well, we'll just sort of try this and see if it works, and starts cutting you open. I mean, why would that be okay in social work? It's not okay in other professions. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be okay in social work. It's like, we shouldn't be treating people if we can't point to evidence that what we're doing is going to probably be effective. So this is a really big issue, and it's an ethical issue. So the idea that, well, we can't really evaluate that's not acceptable. Like, there is a way to evaluate. It might be that the agency doesn't care to, doesn't know how, but there are ways to evaluate whether practice is effective or not. So this week, your evidence-based practice paper is due, and here's a great opportunity for you to see that there are, in fact, articles and resources that can tell you, hey, this works with this particular population. And I'm going to be really curious to see whether your agency is using best practices, evidence-based practice. So the forum assignment for this week is this. As you work on your evidence-based practice paper, pick a topic that's related to your agency. One hopes you're doing that anyway. But then I want you to post about whether or not your practicum, your agency, is using the practices and the interventions, whatever you come up with, that you're finding in the literature are indeed best practices. So that's the forum assignment, and that's my challenge to you. It's, as you think about yourself as a social worker, it's really not okay to just think, well, this seems like a good idea. That we don't have the right to do that in people's lives. We should be working from some evidence. So this week you're going to be finding evidence and sharing it, and then telling us whether your agency uses evidence-based practice or not. Not whether they say they're doing it, but whether they're really doing it, based on what you find in your evidence-based practice paper. So with that, I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to reading your post. Okay,